Hey, my fellow multidimensionals, it's Asia Andromeda, founder of multidimensionalu.com. So in this Wayshowers Weekly, my weekly vlog, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the themes that have been emerging in my own personal conversations with my own multidimensional codex, in my emergence program groups, and in my client calls. There's some really rich ground that we are unearthing during this time. So I look forward to jumping into that in just a moment. But first, I would like to thank a few people. So thank you to Casey. Thank you so much for your donation. I really appreciate that. And welcome to Jane to the YouTube membership. Welcome to Monthly Meds. It's wonderful to have you. And then just a reminder that, wow, the Genesis Code mission is coming up here on August 8th. The Genesis Code mission is an extraordinary opportunity for a merry band of light workers, multidimensional meditators to come together in community and do some epic work on the planet in terms of activating codes for unity consciousness and what we might call New Eden, New Earth. It's more multidimensional engineering, if you will, planetary healing, maybe another way to think about it.
The government
you don't need
is
any
out
prior
to
experience.
take all our
I will be
money.
sending out and
Those
upgrade
people
your
are
light
oppressing
potion
us.
meditation.
This will
a couple
never
of weeks
end,
before, so you can
right?
begin
This
to
kind of like
bring your field
victimizing
into the level that will
self-pitying.
help you avoid probably some of the ascension symptoms associated with doing this kind of work. All right, so let's dive right in. Okay, I'm going to kind of half tune in and out here to channel as well as just relay some of the information that's come through in my own inner dialogue and in these discussions I've been having. So you've heard me talk about the third way. There's this third way of doing human. And I think a lot of wayshowers who have moved beyond the us and them, or are actively working, through that labyrinth, have at some point or another been accused of being a part of the problem by not taking a side. Raise your hand if this is you. And for sure, there's a spectrum between, bypassing on one end of it and having big blind spots to where maybe we have racism, sexism, ageism, any of the isms, these prejudices, these mindsets that we frankly inherited. All the way the spectrum goes then all the way to kind of dipping into being the savior, right? Which can play in the ground of a lack of healthy boundaries for other sovereign beings trying to do their work for them. Dipping into shaming and being shamed and guilt and all of that strange entanglement. So there's a lot that's required of us right now as we navigate our own personal journey. It's really not the time to just be in kind of, a dissociated state and whatever, everything's fine. That would be more the bypass end of things. So I encourage everyone to do the human work. We're all being asked to do a lot of human work right now with our own shadow and our emotional bodies, while at the same time moving our energy field into the 0 point and into a higher dimensional space that can hold the third way, that can hold the all. You're going beyond this and that, right and wrong, black and white. And this requires quite a lot of intention and conscious commitment to really be careful, again, not going into saving and or bypassing. And it's not like we're going to get it perfect, right? It's not necessarily a straight line. As I was preparing to do this video and asking kind of, what are you all really looking to unearth and excavate at this time that's helpful? It's that part of our human personality construct that doesn't want to be kicked out by the tribe. And usually the tribe is family, might be friends, maybe colleagues, neighbors, but usually it's a family. And so it's really with a lot of love, kindness, and compassion, taking a good hard look at how what your blind spots are in terms of what you're not really willing to look at in terms of your own shadow, and or the polarization you still find yourself pulled into is simply a relic of the tribe. The tribe is really powerful, and we don't want to upset the tribe. We don't want to get kicked out of the tribe. We don't want to be rejected or judged by the tribe, right? And our tribes can change, but it's still a tribe. It's still tribalism. And the same fear of not belonging come up. And of course, the most important part of this 0 point that we're being, encouraged by our own multidimensional selves to inhabit, the higher dimensional remembering, is this place where we are within our own sovereignty. And so we do not require the approval of the tribe. We are free agents. So it really is backing out and giving us space to consider, again, with a lot of love and compassion and self-love, what are the walls that we've built around our heart in order to just cope and exist in this reality? And what are those walls that we just simply inherited as a way of being in the world from our parents or grandparents, etc.? As disclosure continues, we've had it within the Catholic Church and the abuses there, within the Me Too movement, and every civil rights movement on the planet, for sure. There's a tendency for a lot of light workers to fall back into the us and them, this kind of mentality of lock them up, throw away the key, and that's not generous, it's not gracious, and certainly isn't the 0 point. It's not acknowledging that people who perpetrate such atrocities, they themselves are highly traumatized beings, and what happened in their childhood. And so it's really beginning to circle the wagons and look deeply at ourselves, right? So the conversation I had with one of my groups today is, if you've consumed pornographic material of any kind, you're part of that spectrum of abuse, because that material is frankly exceptionally distortional, the way that it's produced and created, and the energy of it. And the same goes for, we look at these abuses in these institutions, and yet every family on the planet has this kind of abuse if we're willing to look. And we had a great conversation around that. It's like the conversations we need to be having aren't necessarily about how to lock up all the evildoers out there, but what is happening within our own walls or our extended family's walls. What are the stories that have been hushed over, discounted, disregarded? What are the fabrications about what happened that were created to stay in a state of denial and not have to face some of these most unpleasant truths about grandpa, uncle, brother, even aunt, right? Not going to exclude women from sexually abusing minors, because again, it's a cycle. So I invite everyone to really, go deep on this. And same, when it gets into the multidimensional realms, it's like, what's your reptilian aspect? Maybe reptilians aren't all malevolent, right? There's a lot of species in the multiverse. There's a lot going on. But we're familiar with hearing about, malevolent, draconian type reptilians. And I guarantee you've got one of those as part of your oversoul. What do they have to share? Right? And this is drawing everything and everyone in close in a open-hearted and open-minded space in which to truly evolve past the polarity conflict. It's not about primacy anymore, right? Everyone's trying to gain primacy, supremacy, like my way is the right way. This is the right answer. And it's just pulling way back from that. I do feel the need to say, though, we have to be careful, because if we, those of us who've gotten to this place, right, we went through a huge journey with a lot of steps to get there. And if we try to gloss over this with people who haven't made that same journey, it can come across as incredibly insensitive, and offensive. So there is a listening and a validating. There's such a non-listening happening there, and a lack of validation. And certainly the way that this is brought forward, if it's brought in a shaming way, will automatically trigger defending and closed ears. And so tone really matters. What did Mother Teresa say? I won't come to your anti-war rally, but if you hold a pro-peace rally, I'll be there. Right? So the nuancing of the energetic containers absolutely does matter, but we also have to be careful about our blind spots. And what I'm being shown right now is to look at how those might be linked to your tribe, and what is or is not acceptable within your tribe, and what that would mean for you if you challenged or pushed back on your tribe. And that, my friends, is the game worth playing, which is reclamation of your sovereignty. It's not the winning and losing game. Tired, so done. So done with that paradigm. But reclamation of your self-sovereignty, each and every single person does that on the planet. You are a free agent, and you are no longer a victim. You know, it's interesting to interact with the interdimensionals. They sometimes intervene on my behalf. They have zero tolerance. The little people especially, they have zero tolerance for victim consciousness. Yeah, what they're showing me right now is that it is one of the most weakened states of the human experience, right? This is a projection of your own lack of self-acceptance, self-love, connection with source. Then you're working with all your power. You're not trying to force anything. That's being projected on the world. Blaming. And so it puts you, what they're showing me is it puts you into an extremely weakened state where you have very little power. And frankly, what they're showing me is it actually gives you a bit of a high. So there's an addiction issue here as well. The rush of anger and self-pity that brings. I'm asking them, like, give us some more tools so we understand what to do with that. And what they're showing us is that these constructs got set up early in childhood. So go back and do your inner child work on when you first began to feel extremely disempowered, like you didn't have a say in your life, you didn't have authority, you were put down. And that's what's been playing itself out. And if we stay in that space of victim consciousness, we will continue to perpetuate all of that. So the way that we go about shifting our reality really matters when it comes to tone. Absolutely, there are horrific atrocities that occur on this planet that it's time to disclose, reckon with those, but not from those people out there, more of a, where have I been giving my power away? Where do I have blind spots? Where do I not want to, rock the boat with the tribe? And not by rocking the boat by coming out with like a real, like, this is how it is. It's just here I can offer my personal experience and what I've been grappling with humility and kindness and compassion again, right? Whew. This is an amazing opportunity for us to grow incredibly as a race of beings. And we have a lot of support and a lot of love. And many of you are being called into the multidimensional work to clear spaces and hold a high vibrational energetic container in which other people can start to clear distortion, right? So it's not an either or, it's the and, right? That is the paradox of multidimensional everything. Multiple levels, right? So we've got our human form that's doing this human thing. We've got these emotions coming up, and we feel the anger about injustices, and we can feel powerless. But then there's this whole alchemy that comes in to take that anger and grief and start to spin it into gold. The work of forgiveness versus shaming and blaming is some of the most powerful, like, love warriorship work on the planet. So I encourage all of us to dive deep into this and to have uncomfortable conversations. What's gone on in the family? Where are we turning a blind eye? Oh shoot, where am I trying to save everyone and that's not my place and I need to pull back and have boundaries? There's a lot of really amazing work happening right now in the bioenergy space of our amazing plasmic field of consciousness and in the personality construct that is your human self. So I, for one, me and my family have gotten the guidance to pull way back for the next couple months and chillax, take it easy, do a lot less. The energies that we're bringing through are much greater, and so the effects on the body are much greater. We're going to require a lot more rest. Where the collective is at is like, I can hear it buzzing sometimes in the morning, like a zzz, you know, it's electrified. And we're doing a lot of our own energy upgrades and our deep shadow emotional work. So that's all. I would say absolutely it's time to do less in the physical, expect less of ourselves, pull back, and play in the field of potentiality. And this is what we're on Earth for, is to create. And we have an amazing opportunity to create something completely new here. So always look to yourself and your own power first over your own perspective, getting out of any sort of victim consciousness, bypassing, savioring. Yeah, and I really appreciate this space. Thank you for being here with me on this channel. It's quite a privilege to be in this position, to be on Earth and embodied at this time, to be doing this together in community, right? It's good stuff. All right, well, I'm sending you all so much love. I hope you can feel that. Thank you for everything you're doing for yourselves to further love and compassion on the planet, the third way, and for the rest of humanity. I hope you have a magical multi-dimensional week. Bye for now.